In this video I'm going to show you how to sow really fine seeds, the very small seeds, the ones that are a bit like dust, into seed trays, but the same applies if you're doing them in pots as well. So what I've got is I've got some antirrhinum, some snapdragon seeds, and there's 500 in this packet apparently, so there should be, but they'll be very fine. So what we're going to do is we've got ourselves a half seed tray here, and we'll fill this with compost like we've done before. So overfill with peat-free compost. So overfill but don't press down. Fill in all the gaps. Then we're going to get us levelling board and just work our way across the top, cutting off the compost gently. And then we're going to press it down gently, not too hard, but you want to get a nice flat surface. And I like to clean off the edge to make it neat. If you've got any gaps, you can sort of fill them in like I've got there, and press it down, because you want a nice level surface. It's important to get that level surface, because if you've got bumps and hollows, some of the seed will, if you scatter it, some of the seed might drop in the hollow, it might all drop in the hollow, or when you water it, it might flow to there, and then it might end up being too deep, or the seeds will be too dense. They'll all be sown in that where those hollows are. When they grow, then they're going to be fighting with each other, competing with each other for the nutrients and the light. But also in this humid environment in here, they're likely to then start to get some fungal problems because there's no air movement between them. So what you want for the fine seeds is you want some sand in a cup. Get some sand, ideally not builder's sand, and then you open the packet gently, and inside this packet is another foil packet there. So that's been sealed to not let the air in, so to keep the seeds viable, so alive for longer. So what you want to do is you want to flick the packet to try and get the seeds to all fall away from where you're going to open it. That's very difficult with the seed packet, with the seeds like these, because you can actually feel them come together there. Because they're so small, they don't tend to drop down. So gently open it, and open it over your compost, because any that fall out of this packet will then fall into your compost where you want them to grow, and they won't get mixed up in the rest of your compost and contaminate another seed sowing. I don't know if you can see there, but inside there there's some seeds tucked away in that little gap. So what I want to do is just open them up, and I'll tip them out onto this compost here, just so we don't miss any. So I'm going to throw that away afterwards. Right, so we've got us seed packet with the seeds inside, and I've tipped them out on my hand so you can see them. These are very small, so there they are. These are the antirrhinum, the snapdragon seeds. Snapdragon being its common name, antirrhinum being its scientific Latin name. These are very small. You can get seeds that are even smaller than these. Lobelia seeds are smaller than these. So because they're very dark as well, you can't tell where you've sown those. So those ones that I've got out of that little packet there, I can't tell where they are. So what you want to do is you want to tip those seeds into the sand. Now I'm not going to sow all 500, I'm going to try and sow half the packet here into this one and that one. So I'm tipping them into the sand. There we go, and we'll fold this over because I'll save those for another time. Folding it over so they don't drop out, and then you want to give your sand and seed a good mix round, so it's nice and well mixed up, and then hopefully the seeds are evenly distributed in that sand. And then what you can do with the sand is you can start to tip it out onto the seed bed, onto your little seed tray, and because the sand is a different colour to the compost, see where you've sown the seeds. You can see that they're even then. They're not all in one place. So you can give an even distribution over the compost so that the dough, they're not too dense, so we don't have all those competing problems again and the fungal problems. So because this sand has come out a bit clumpy because it's slightly damp, you can gently, what you'd look for really ideally is nice dry sand, but this is what I just demonstrate the video. And so you just want to gently break up those clumps a bit, but they will do anyway once you water them. And then, so you can see where you've been, you can see where the seeds are. So you want to label it as always, so we know exactly what they are, and we'll give it a little bit of a water. So I've got this pot bottle water here, and just a gentle water over the surface to make sure the seeds have got the moisture they need. And you can see the sand starting to distribute now a bit and break down. Those clumps break down, and you don't want it to be absolutely soaking wet, but you want all the surface to be moist. You don't want to see any dry soil. So that's what I would do with seeds that I'm not going to cover up. Now antirrhinums do like a bit of, they can be covered as well, but because I've mixed them in with the sand, I'm not going to do that because I think the sand will cover them as well. But some seeds like lobelia and begonias don't want to be covered up at all. They need the light to germinate. But these will be fine like this. I've done this before with antirrhinums. You could, if you wanted to, before you water it, you could sift some compost over like I've done in previous videos. But because they are so small, it's only a very, very light covering of compost. And like I say, the sand here I think will do that in this seed tray. So once they've been watered, we'll move them into a propagator, cover it with a lid again to keep it nice and humid until they've germinated. Once they've got to a good size, so they've got some true leaves, not the seed leaves, we'll prick them out into their own individual trays and pots from there, and then grow them on for planting out later in the year.